Hello film fans and welcome to ClassAct, a series where we break down movies and TV shows scene by scene in order to better understand how they were written. In this episode, we're breaking down 2011's Oscar-nominated comedy Bridesmaids, written by Kristen Wiig and Annie Mumolo. Now, a lot of people remember Bridesmaids for its raunchy comedy, which is why I think it sometimes gets mischaracterized as one of those frat pack movies like Old School or The Hangover. But make no mistake, while Bridesmaids is a lot of fun, it's also an example of seriously elite storytelling, and it's a great film to study if you're trying to learn the basics of 3-act structure. The first act ends at minute 27, and the second act ends at minute 93, with the inciting incident at minute 14, the midpoint at minute 69, and the climax at minute 108. Alright, so let's go beat by beat through the structure of Bridesmaids, starting with the first 4 minutes, the opening teaser. Right away, the scene establishes the movie's most important element as we meet our main character Annie and learn the flaw that she'll have to overcome by the end of the story. Hooking up with a rich, handsome, and successful man named Ted, Annie clearly wants a committed relationship where she feels validated and mutually loved. But unfortunately, to Ted, she's nothing but a booty call, and through her interaction with him, we see the full scope of Annie's flaw. She's unable to love herself internally because she looks for love and validation from the external world. Because of this, she has a bad habit of changing herself to match the expectations of other people.
I'm not looking for a relationship right now either. Let's just say that. Whatever you want to, I can do, I'd rather just...
And with the hero's flaw now established, we head right into the film's first major sequence from minutes 4 to 14, the full and proper introduction of the protagonist. Over the next 10 minutes, the sequence establishes Annie's normal, everyday world, a world in which she doesn't meet society's criteria for a normal, successful life. She drives a crappy car and lives in a crappy apartment with weird, creepy roommates. She also lost all her money trying to open a failed bakery and now works a dead-end job at a jewelry store where she's reminded every day of how single and unloved she is because she has to help happy couples shop for engagement rings. In fact, the only good thing in Annie's life is her best friend Lillian, who gives her the exact kind of authentic, judgment-free love she's looking for from the outside world. But what Annie needs to learn is how to love herself this way, a fact that Lillian is all too happy to remind her of as she states the film's theme.
You should just make room for somebody who's nice to you.
Arriving at Lillian's apartment the next night, Annie is surprised to see an engagement ring on Lillian's finger, which brings us right into minute 14, the inciting incident. In this moment, Lillian tells Annie she's getting married and pops the big question, will Annie be her maid of honor? Now, it's important to note what the universe is asking of Annie in this moment. In her old life, she received all of her love and validation from an external source, her best friend, who protected her from ever having to look inward and accept herself. But now, the universe is challenging her to let go of the need to find validation from the outside world and learn to love herself internally without judgment. Naturally, she's going to have some resistance to this, and in the next sequence, minutes 14 to 27, that's exactly what we get, as Annie struggles to hold on to her best friend, aka her one external source of validation. Unfortunately, the universe isn't going to make it easy. At Lillian's uncomfortably expensive engagement party, she meets the rest of the bridesmaids, each of whom has a conveniently perfect set of characteristics to remind Annie of how sad, unworthy, and alone she is. First, there's Rita, who not only has kids, but has so many kids that all she wants to do is get away from them and party. Next, there's Becca, the innocent newlywed who's freshly in love with her brand new husband, and then there's Megan, who will take on the role of Annie's surrogate mentor in the film. Much like Annie, she doesn't fit the outside world's expectations of perfect normalcy, but unlike Annie, she's happy with who she is, and it's her example that Annie will have to follow if she's going to rise up to the universe's challenge. And finally, we meet the villain of the story, Helen, the rich, intelligent, and beautiful wife of the groom's boss. Helen represents the external world that Annie both wants validation from and doesn't fit in with, and her self-proclamation as Lillian's new closest friend puts Annie in danger of losing the only person who loves her for who she really is to the exact external world that doesn't accept her at all. Suffice to say, Annie's pretty outwardly threatened, and as the party comes to an end, Lillian pulls her to the side, bringing us right to minute 27, the end of Act 1. In a private moment between friends, Lillian asks Annie to get to know Helen and just be confident in herself. Of course, Annie says yes, and with this action, she officially accepts the universe's challenge. She will step outside her comfort zone and attempt to become the confident, self-loving maid of honor that Lillian so seems to want.
Would you just hang out with her once, just two of you, right? As a favor to me? Okay, I will.
It's time for Act 2. Act 2 of Bridesmaids kicks off with a 23-minute segment from 27 to 50 in which Annie tries her best to be confidently herself, only to learn it's going to be a lot harder than she expected. Driving home, she gets pulled over by Nathan Rhodes, a local police officer who noticed her 2 broken taillights. By the way, look at how well the writers thought out all the little moments in this script. Through this meet-cute interaction, Annie attracts Nathan to her because she's broken, signaling subconsciously to the audience that he's going to be the one to love her for who she truly is. And sure enough, Nathan recognizes Annie for the one thing she's most ashamed of, her failed bakery, only unlike the rest of the world that rejected her for doing what she loved, he actually really liked her baking and went there all the time. Inspired by her conversation with Nathan, Annie returns home and does the one thing she loves most in the world: she bakes. But here's one of those little things that elevates the movie a notch higher. Annie ends the scene by staring at her perfect cupcake, a metaphorical representation of her most authentic self, and sadly remembers that she has nobody to share it with. Back to the A-plot, Annie fulfills her promise to Lillian by going out for a playdate on Helen's home court, playing tennis at a bougie club with Helen and her friends. We get some fun comedy as the ladies attack each other with tennis balls, and later Annie takes all the bridesmaids out to a restaurant she picked, an offbeat Brazilian joint in a shady part of town. Lillian, of course, is the only one who isn't weirded out because this is exactly what she loves about Annie.
I gotta say, Annie's really good at this. She always drags me to the weirdest places, and the food is always incredible.
And while we're here, check out the excellent blocking with Helen visibly coming between the 2 best friends. While Lillian's in the bathroom, Annie plants an idea that she knows Lillian will love, a French theme for the bridal party. Helen takes note, which is a plant for when she'll steal that idea later, and the ladies head over to the dress shop where once again Annie fumbles the ball, realizing she was supposed to make a reservation and didn't do it. Luckily, perfect Helen swoops in to save the day. She knows the shop owner personally, and as she and Annie battle over which dress to get, the bridesmaids' stomachs all start to grumble, and if you've seen Bridesmaids, you know the scene that comes next is legendary. By trying to be her confident, authentic self, Annie has accidentally given the whole group food poisoning, leaving Helen to buy all the soiled dresses and save the day once again. The sequence ends with another hit on that theme as Annie asks Ted to be her date to the wedding, and he turns her down. She's trying her best to be confident, but she's still pining for acceptance from a world that she doesn't fit in with. In the next sequence, which is 19 minutes from 50 to 69, we start again with the B-plot as Annie runs into Nathan at a late-night convenience store. And this is a pattern that's going to repeat itself at the beginning of every new sequence. First, Nathan is going to show Annie what it looks like to be loved for her true self, which will give Annie confidence to try showing that true self to the outside world, only to be repeatedly rejected for it. In this scene, Nathan says that to Annie metaphorically, telling her not to throw away the ugly carrot in the bag because the ugly carrot is actually the best one. The next day, they go out for their first date, speed trapping cars on the side of the freeway, and it's here, as Annie does literally the one thing that the whole external world would hate her the most for, that she feels truly happy for the first time. This, of course, gives her the confidence to show her true self to the bridesmaids yet again, suggesting an intimate bachelorette party for Lillian at her parents' cabin where they used to hang out together as kids. Sadly, the second she suggests it, all the bridesmaids say, "Hell no, we're going to Vegas," and on the plane ride there, we again see the theme played out through blocking and staging, as Annie has to sit all the way back in coach while the rest of the bridal party lounges with champagne in first class. Seeing how afraid Annie is of flying, Helen sabotages her yet again, giving her pills and alcohol, which when combined get her so insanely drunk that she causes a paranoid riot and gets the plane grounded, ruining the whole bachelorette party and bringing us right to the midpoint at minute 69. In this moment, the universe deals Annie the knockout blow. She tried to be her real self, and because of it, Lillian now asks her to step down as the maid of honor.
Yeah, I just want you to be happy.
Yeah, I think that'll make me happy. It'll be good. Good. Okay. Good.
In the roll downhill, a 24-minute segment from 69 to 93, Annie has now lost her confidence and begins to fully self-sabotage. Once again, she kicks the sequence off with Nathan, only this time it's different. The last 2 times they got together, it was Nathan that pursued Annie. But this time, Annie seeks him out because he's the only one who makes her feel loved for who she truly is. Over a drink at the local bar, Nathan reaffirms this idea, telling Annie that her bakery is something she should be proud of.
Just because you didn't make any money at it doesn't mean that you failed at it.
And having finally received the unconditional love she's been searching for, Annie gives in, accompanies Nathan back home, and they sleep together for the first time. Now, I love the scene when they wake up the next morning because it's the exact opposite of the opening. Unlike Ted, who wanted Annie to leave as quickly as possible, Nathan actually lets her sleep in, he's made her coffee, and he went on a morning grocery run so that he and Annie could do her favorite activity together, bake. And with this, the self-sabotage begins as Annie, who throughout the entire film has been learning what happens when she shows her authentic self to people, puts her guard back up and rejects Nathan's attempt to get to know the real her.
I don't need you to fix me.
To fix you?
I don't need any help. I mean, who do you think you are?
Jesus, Annie, we had a really good time, and now you're being all...
Okay, so she's now lost her best friend and her love interest, but unfortunately, Annie's meltdown is just getting started. Opening up Helen's invitation to the new bachelorette party, she realizes it's French-themed, a payoff on that earlier moment when Helen stole the idea from her. This sends Annie into a full-blown spiral. She lashes out at work and gets fired from her job, her roommates kick her out, forcing her to move back in with her mom, and at the bachelorette party, she has a tantrum, driving a final stake into the heart of her friendship with Lillian.
Why can't you just be happy for me? It's all her fault, it is not mine, and you would know that if you got your beautiful haired head out of your asshole.
Then don't even bother coming to my wedding!
And yet, somehow, it keeps getting worse, as Annie's highly metaphorical inability to fix her taillight causes an accident on the highway, putting her face to face once again with the town police officer, Nathan, just as her booty call Ted conveniently arrives to pick her up.
Come on!
And to make matters worse, even in this terrible moment, Ted tries to solicit sex from Annie, causing her to finally realize that he's the one person in the world who cares the least about her. She breaks it off with him and gets out of the car, bringing us right into minute 93, the low point in which Annie has officially lost everything. She has no friends, no job, no home, and the love of her life never wants to see her again. But just when all hope seems lost, Annie's mentor Megan shows back up and gives her a much-needed pep talk.
You're your problem, Annie. And you're also your solution.
And in this moment, Annie makes a decision, the one decision she never would have made at the beginning of the film, to look inward, pick up the pieces of her life, and finally learn to love herself internally. Act 3 of Bridesmaids begins with an 11-minute segment from 97 to 108, and this is my personal favorite sequence of the film because it's just rapid-fire symbolism and metaphorical payoffs. Picking herself back up, Annie literally and symbolically fixes her taillight. She then reconnects with her inner self by baking again, and to top it all off, what she actually does bake is a cake for Nathan in the shape of, you guessed it, an ugly carrot. But there's still one final payoff to be had as the day of the wedding arrives, and who shows up at Annie's front door but her arch nemesis, Helen. Turns out Lillian's gone missing, and the only person who knows how to find her is Annie, her true lifelong best friend. Annie, of course, knows exactly who to call for help, the town police officer, Nathan, and after a funny, sweet apology, she and Helen realize that Lillian is literally just in her apartment. At the front door, Annie asks Helen if she can go in by herself, leading us right into minute 108, the climax, in which the two best friends finally beautifully reconcile. In their first honest conversation in forever, Annie exhibits all of the change and inner acceptance that the universe asked her to make in the very beginning.
No, it's my fault. I think I'm the one with the mental problems.
And with her character arc now complete, we move right along into minute 112, the resolution, in which Annie stands happily and proudly by her best friend to watch her get married. The hero and villain resolve their differences, the love interest shows up for a movie-ending kiss, and as the credits roll, the mentor and her new partner make a sex tape with sub sandwiches. And that's it! Bridesmaids in 3 acts. Watching this movie again, I was really overjoyed at how well it's held up over time. This is often a problem with comedies. Inevitably, the humor becomes dated and the movie loses its luster after a few years, but by structuring the plot so heavily around an inner character journey, writers Wiig and Mumolo have truly crafted a comedy that's not only still funny today, but will unquestionably stand the test of time as a film to be remembered. Obviously, I love to study this stuff, so please do leave your own analyses down below in the comments, and as always, feel free to like and subscribe for more breakdowns of movies and TV shows in the 3-act model and beyond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on ClassAct.